friendship mean to stick by a friend when they're in hard times? That's what friendship meant to George and Charles Finn, especially during World War II, when both of the young men were placed in the Army. George and Charles Finn were close from the minute they came out of their mother's womb. George and Charles were identical twins. The boys did everything together, and always stuck by each other's side. They were always doing some really crazy things when they were young. I guess old habits die hard, because they were equally crazy when they got older. But we'll get to that later. When George and Charles were in school, they were always getting in trouble, and then blaming it on the other one because they were identical twins. This strategy was very effective because they were very cute little boys. They also had two sisters who were identical twins, so they all played that game a lot. George and Charles Finn were always such fun-loving kids that it was hard to believe when they joined the military in 1941. George and Charles Finn loved their country very much. So of course, when Pearl Harbor was bombed on December 7th, they were one of the first to sign up. Originally, there was only one boy in the Army. He was in the Army so that he could support the other who was attending medical school. But when war broke out, the other dropped medical school and joined. They were in the U.S. Army. George and Charles Finn loved their country and fought hard for it, but they were not necessarily war enthusiasts. Like everyone in America, George and Charles were affected by the war, but like most people who were actually in the war, they were affected a little more. They were completely cut off from their families. However, the boys were very adamant when they were assigned to the Berlin airlift. They were very excited and enthusiastic about helping the oppressed people in Berlin. And now to talk about George and Charles Finn's life after war, we bring in Barbara Ellington, George and Charles's niece. Can you tell me a little bit about what George did right after the war?
Well, George came back and he wanted to start his own airline. Since he was the pilot in the war, he wanted to do a commercial airline. So he started looking for a plane to buy.
Can you give me a little information about what Charles did after the war?
Charles did the same thing. They were like identical twins and they were glued together. Everything one did, the other did, and supported him. So he wanted to be in the airline business also.
Do you have any funny events or stories about them from after the war?
They always used to dress up at Christmas as Santa Claus, and they'd go up on the top of my parents' home and wrestle up on the roof, and we always thought it was Santa. On St. Patrick's Day, they dressed up as Irish elves because they were all 100% Irish. So whenever they showed up, it was nothing but fun, fun, fun.
Can you tell us a little bit about what George and Charles did in their Middle Ages?
In their Middle Ages, they were still carrying on the fight to get their airlines going. They had lost their plane and they were trying to get it back through some legal procedures, and that took up most of their time.
Can you tell me a little bit about what George and Charles did when they were old men?
When they were old men, they would help anybody. They had a lady that was a friend of the family's that they took all over the world. They traveled with her. They helped her with her ranch, helped her with manage properties. And anytime you called them, if you needed them, they would be there. It might take them a while to get there, but you could always count on them.
Thank you for your time, Miss Ellington.
You're welcome. Thank you, Ryan.
So I think we can all agree that friendship does mean to stick by a friend at all times, just like these two great men did. I hope you've all learned from the great friendship and brotherhood that a good friend can be the person you least expect it to be, and there's nothing wrong with that.